what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
I know you're tired and you ain't sleeping well. Uninspired, likely mad as hell. But wherever you are, I hope the high road leads you home again.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 54, volume 3 of a special election 2020 edition of Big Fan. My name is Chad East, and I'm not a big fan of politics. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my political stance for the day. Hank, what you got?
I didn't know we were doing not big fan, but my name's Hank Eimer, and I'm a big fan of invigorating cold showers in the dark during power outages, unattended trick-or-treat bags, and watching news reporters scramble to make a story when only 10% of the vote is in.
So true, so true. Let's start right there, Hank. So as we're coming to you live here, November 4th, the day after Election Day, and also it follows the night that never ended. Let's talk a little bit about last night. So election coverage coming at you from on every channel, just like you mentioned. 10% of the votes are in, and they're scrambling to make it. It almost seemed like a sporting event in the first quarter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You couldn't get a real good idea of what was going on, and then they confuse you. They start talking about electoral votes. They start talking about the popular vote, what they did the 4 years before, how that number is affected. But you got to take into consideration that more people have gone to the polls. So that's not really a true number, because they'd be like, oh, this candidate already has 2 million votes at this point. Well, there's more voters this time of year. So, I mean, I couldn't watch the whole thing. I watched probably, I don't know. I watched a couple hours of it, but I certainly didn't stay up late like a lot of people.
Yeah, so my night consisted of, I watched it from 7 to about 10:30 with the girls, and they went to bed. And I went to bed, and Jennifer and I watched it till 11:30. I fell asleep, but it was on in the background because Jennifer stayed up. She didn't go to sleep. She was enthralled. So I woke up 12:30, 1:30, checking, any results. Then, sporadically through the night. But the best part of the entire thing, I woke up, got a shower, turned on the TV at 7 a.m. to see the host from the CBS morning show wearing the exact same outfit that they had on the night before. So they must have been in that studio the entire day, entire night, big bags under their eyes. One of them had this yellow dress on that she had wore the previous day, evening, and the next day. So anyway, I thought that was a trip. This is their Super Bowl.
This podcast is sponsored by Jackson Creative, a custom communication agency located in downtown Hickory, North Carolina, specializing in online content creation. To learn more, visit thejacksoncreative.com. Jackson Creative, we tell your story.
Anything special over at your house with the election, buddy? Harris asked you a bunch of questions on who was winning.
There are a bunch of questions, but I think that the interesting thing I will say about my evening is we have a student at LR that's become kind of like we've adopted. He plays at LR baseball, and he comes over for dinner, and we take him out to dinner. We go watch him play, and he's kind of become kind of our surrogate family over at LR. He came over and ate dinner with us last night, and it's amazing to listen.
What's his name? CJ Hines?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's it. It's amazing to listen to youth talk about what their concerns, and I'm not getting on youth and not knowing what what they need to vote for or what their beliefs need to be, but it's interesting what's important to them at this point in their life and what their discussions were about, and what they were voting on. And he's from New York, so regionally, he's grown up in a certain environment, and it's just so funny to listen to each one of us probably at different stages in our life. And last night during the election, I got to hear what was important to him, and I understood what it was important. And I'm sure in my 20s I was the same. I was very similar, but not in my 40s. And so it was just
what was important to a 20-something year old right now. I'm interested to hear that.
Well, it's a lot of social issues, I think that's part of it. And as a business owner, too, is like, if you've had to write payroll and you've had to do all these different things, maybe the economics of it is a little bit more important to you. But if you haven't been in that world and haven't seen that, then maybe your social issues are at the top of your list. Maybe you stand more on abortion, maybe you stand more on immigration, maybe you stand more, on all these rights. And he sits in that corner because that's what's important to him now. And not to say those aren't important to me, but it's just at different stages in your life. You realize, hey, and we could be in the same party, but we look at things, we're just looking at the campaign differently. Sure, and I think that was the biggest thing that I learned last night, because, he was well thought out with, his discussion points, but it was just interesting to have that conversation.
Yep. One other interesting thing that I took from last night was, my kids, who I've always known they're pretty smart kids, and they're into, they're involved in things and are aware of things. But man, they know way more than I know about each candidate. They knew, some of the big issues that each candidate stood for. And obviously, I'm being kind of facetious. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, but they knew way more than I thought they would know. And so, sitting down and having a conversation with them regarding the election was actually enlightening. It was pretty awesome.
You're not gonna surprise me to tell me that your daughters know more about politics than you.
Yeah, that's very true. They know a lot more than me about a lot of things. But anyway, sure. it was a pretty awesome night, because I felt like, just 4 years ago we were sitting around, we'd watch The Lion King and talk about slime, and now we're sitting here watching the election, talking about how many electoral votes it's going to take to win. Whoever wins Vermont is going to put in their pocket. So anyway, it was kind of, a coming of age tale, if you will, Hank.
Yes, it was. And I think it's good that they get to watch these. I think the political system is terrible. I think that, I just go out there and say that I think that it turns good people bad. Not necessarily. I'm just saying in general. And I don't love the political system, but I think that it's good to have our kids to watch this, even though you may see a candidate that may not have the type of character that you want your kid to, embody when they get older. But it's important for them to know who's running the country, how this system works. But with the way that it's going right now, who knows how the system works? I mean, right. I think, we might still not know who our president is on the next big fan, which is 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Christmas. We might have a good idea, maybe Christmas Day. But anyway, we'll stay on the politics just for a second. Then I would prefer to move away from it. I hate discussing it. I know it's upon us, but I'm just not good with it. I'm not very good with politics, but I thought this was interesting. So I go to vote yesterday. I waited till the day of the election to vote, just like I always have in elections past. And it was pretty seamless. There were so many kind volunteers showing, what to do, where to go, how to fill out your circle, all this good stuff. But, when you park your car and you're walking up to the facility to vote, you've got Republican volunteers and Democrat volunteers saying, hey, let me show you this before you go. You know what I'm saying? So, not even thinking about what I was wearing, right? Because I just wake up in the morning and I just throw on something. Well, I have actually had this coordinate, like in Boomerang or whatever that movie was. So I had blue shirt with these blue pants, had these real hot kind of new blue shoes, and a blue mask, right? I was a matching sign, a board for the Democratic Party. And so I'm walking up and I go by the red folks, they've got their signs and they're looking at me and they kind of give me the stink eye, right? They just give me, they don't even know who I am or whom I'm affiliated with. They know nothing of me, but they immediately give me the stink eye. And so I keep going like, good morning, no comment. Then I go by the blue table and they're like, oh, welcome, brother. Welcome, friend. How are you? Here, take this propaganda. And I was like, look, I don't want anything from you. Just I'm going in here and I'm going to vote. And then I realized, holy cow. I look like Joe Biden's long lost son right now, walking into the voting area. So anyway, you can never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, because definitely they thought I was rolling with the blue, and who knows, maybe I was, but we'll never know because our vote is personal and it's our own opinion that we can keep to ourselves and share with the world. That's the great thing about voting.
That is a great thing. What's so funny is when I voted, I early voted, and we have it at Highland, and beside the skate park over there, there's a parking lot, a small parking lot. So I pulled in that side parking lot there, and when I got out of my car, I started walking. How there's those hedges, those bush hedges that are right around there. You saw both the Democratic and the Republican guy catch eyes with me, and they were sitting there like they looked like peacocks looking over that thing, trying to figure out a way to get to me. And I was like, man, I'm good. I'm good over here. Peace.
Oh, that's so funny. When I left the place, this old man was kind of telling a story out in the parking lot, and I just happened to listen to him. And he said like 30 or 40 years ago, some of those volunteers that would stand out there would have a bottle of whiskey underneath their table, and they would say, "Psst, come over here. I'll give you a shot if you'll vote for my guy." That's how they used to entice.
That's your guy. That's yours, guys.
Yeah, that's my guys. I should have been around 40 years ago. But anyway, so that's we'll leave it at that. Good luck to the candidates. As you said earlier, Hank, we're not sure who's going to win, who's going to lose, but we know hopefully there will not be mad chaos. Everyone will, keep their heads about them, and to let the best man win, and let's move on, and let's get our country moving in the right direction, and hopefully it will. So I'll leave it at that. Hank, do you want to add anything to our political part of our podcast this morning?
No, I just hope that a decision is made quickly. It's accepting of the other side, regardless of what it is. And we move on and try to get through these next 4 years and get to another climate where these races aren't so crazy, but they are what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So talk to me about Halloween. So Halloween was last weekend. Everybody did their own kind of COVID Halloween extravaganzas, which at my house meant we actually did nothing at all. The girls went to a couple little parties, and Jennifer and I just set up the TV outside, made a fire, and watched a couple scary movies. So it was a very odd Halloween for us. Normally there's so much stuff going on in our neighborhood. I mean, you can't breathe for a second without like people coming over, or another trick-or-treater coming down the street, or somebody throwing a smoke bomb at you. I mean, there's always something crazy happening. But this year, no tricks nor treats. It was very, very subdued here in the Hillcrest neighborhood. Hank, how about at your house?
Well, it was pretty subdued. We just went across the street to Mr. Zagaroli's house, and there were a couple of people over there, but we stayed outside. We socially distanced. The kids went around, and it was the first year that Harris and his buddies kind of went off on their own. Every other year you're just walking behind them, checking out what they're doing, letting them go from house to house. And we got up there, and they were like, "Hey, we want to go to a couple houses. We're not going to a bunch." And so we were like, "All right, go ahead and do it." And so it was Harris and JB and Max and Banks Lovern, who is probably listening right now.
Yeah,
and they went off on their own. And, immediately when I watched those little 11, 12-year-old boys run down that driveway, I thought, they're getting ready to get in some trouble. They get ready to get in some trouble for years and years. And it was a funny, it's fun to watch it happen. But it was kind of quiet. We played some ping pong. We watched a scary movie when we got back home, and it was fun. But, we were coming off of not having any power. We got our power back on Friday at 7 p.m.
Wow.
So we were nervous that we weren't even going to have power on Halloween. So, that's what I was talking about, an invigorating cold shower. When we lost it, I guess on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
No, on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
No, Thursday.
Yeah.
Wednesday,
I believe.
Those few days of cold showers, thank goodness the temperature has been awesome. I mean, it's been absolutely beautiful. But I don't think I wanted to go another couple of days without it. Although it's not, it's not like living in the Wild West. I don't think I want to do it that many days.
No, me and cold showers don't mix either, brother. That is the worst. I've got to have a damn hot shower. Did I tell you, Hank, that I take 3 showers a day? Have we had this conversation about cleanliness? Have we talked about this?
I don't think I've ever cared to know how many showers you've taken each day.
3 hot showers a day, Hank. That's what keeps me, my mind sharp and my body in tip-top shape. It's 3 hot showers a day. So anyway, Follow my
It's
lead.
amazing
I
that
know
you get any
take,
work done.
I know you only take a shower every other day, so at least pop into 2 shower a day kind of mode, and let's get with the 2020s, okay, Hank? All right.
Enough.
Okay. So that is really all I have on my list today. Hank, this podcast, the elections just throw me in a tizzy. I don't know what's coming or going. So lead me here, Hank. Lead me. Ask me a question or two. Tell me which road we're going down here for the last 10 minutes of this podcast, sir.
Well, I appreciate that you dumping this on my shoulders, because the one thing that I wanted to ask you about is, one of the things that you do, and you do quite often, is coordinate. You're using the word coordinate from Boomerang. You coordinate all these things, whether they're tennis matches, whether they're golf tournaments, whether they're a Ryder Cup golf things, whether they're auditions for a band, whatever it may be. I feel like you're out there coordinating, right? And I got an email or text from you today, and I'm starting to realize that anything sports related, there's a party involved. There's going to be something involved that you're going to make it into an event. And I think now we probably didn't get an opportunity to talk about the Masters, seeing that they were postponed because of COVID. But I'd like to hear what you think is going to be the difference between Augusta coming up with the 7th, this Saturday. Is it this weekend? No,
it's next the following weekend. Yes,
it's next week. It's next week. How is that tournament going to be different?
All right. So 2 major things that will happen. First of all, the temperature. And so I checked the average temperature in April, and it's 84, or 78. I can't remember. But the temperature in November in Augusta is 10 degrees less. All right. So first of all, it will be a little bit colder. The ball won't carry as far. You got some folks, instead of short sleeve shirts, you might see some folks in some pullovers. Who knows? Maybe even a toboggan or two, Hank. I know you love to wear the toboggans. I love them. The gear is going to be a little different. The temperature evolves into the gear that the players will wear. But the biggest thing is because of daylight savings time. Now it's going to be really dark. It's going to get dark earlier, which means tee times have to move up. They're even on Championship Sunday going to have tee times going off the front and the back for the first time in Masters history, to be able to get through all of it on Sunday. Can you imagine? This is crazy. Let's say, and obviously they'll have the leaders that go off the front so that they can play Amen Corner and all those famous holes like you should. But think about one of the guys, that's kind of starting from the back on Sunday. He's maybe 10 shots out, but he goes on a heater. And he started on 10. And so he takes Amen Corner and all them on the front 9. But on the back 9, he's playing holes 1 through 9. And, and he's rolling, but, it's not like coming through the normal path of the course when you have those big holes at the end. So anyway, it'll be very interesting. But those are the 3 big things: the temperature, the gear that the cats have to wear, and the daylight time, and how they'll have to go off a little earlier during the day.
We're talking about pro athletes here, though, bud. We're talking about pro athletes. So I don't give very many excuses to anybody that's going to make them a lifetime amount of money in a day. So, or in a weekend.
What if he doesn't like his toboggan, Hank? What if he's uncomfortable wearing toboggan, Hank?
I'm sure somebody else will give him $1,000 to wear a different one. Yes, I have zero sympathy. I have zero sympathy. And, but those guys better get ready to go out there and play, because it's getting ready to happen. And you know what? They better coordinate all their stuff like you were doing, earlier. And they may need some help. And you know who can help them? Time Genie.
Time Genies.
Time Genies.
Whoa! Well done there, sir. Well done.
Yep. Good Time segue. Genies. Time Genies are a concierge service in our area that will help with errands and whatever you need to do, whether it's professionally or corporate errands that you need to have run. But you can trust them with either or, because they've done an amazing job. I know the owner. She's a wonderful lady, really is dedicated to our community. And if you want to learn more, you can go to www.time-genies.com for them to learn more. And if you need to have them pack you for your golf tournament, I'm sure that they would do it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Time Genies, for supporting this wonderful podcast and our wonderful network, The Mesh. Hank, I'm flipping through this magazine real quick while we're sitting here talking. It's actually the top 30 albums of the last 30 years, voted on by the Entertainment Weekly crew. Not changing the subject, but let me jump in here real quick. I'm going to go through just a few of these that I know you'll recognize. Some of them I don't recognize, but I know our producer Moose will. So 1990. Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. Do you remember that CD?
Oh.
It had like I'm trying to remember. It was welcome.
911's a joke.
911. Welcome to the Terra Dome. All that stuff.
I remember it.
That was dope. 91. Nirvana's Nevermind. Of course, we all know that album
for sure.
92. This is the year I graduated high school. The Chronic. Dre. Love this album. Probably top 3 album of all time for me. The Chronic comes out. How wonderful. I'll skip another through here. 95 was Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. I remember that one vividly because I was in college then, and my girlfriend, soon-to-be wife, loved that album a lot. We have Radiohead, 1997, OK Computer. Remember that one? One that's dear to your heart, Hank. 1998, Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, still a classic.
One of my favorites.
We went to go see her. We saw her in concert a couple years ago just because of that album. Do you recall?
We did.
What did you think about that concert?
I thought it was terrible.
It sucked.
I thought David Clark Jr. was the man at the beginning. I wish we would have got there earlier to listen to him.
Oh, yeah,
and the problem is she wouldn't play any of her old stuff. She was trying to jam that new stuff down our throats. But I will tell you, I did love that album.
You could put that album on from the front to the back any time of day or night, and you just groove. It's fabulous.
Whatever you wanted, you could do it.
Yep, absolutely. 1999, one that you really loved. I know you wanted to dress up like these guys for Halloween, but the Backstreet Boys, Millennium, 1999, one of Hank's favorites.
It was. I will tell you this right now. I've said it before. I would have sold out and been in a boy band without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Who are you talking to? I am boy band #1 fan of all the world, right? Yeah, so I would sacrifice everything just for one day on stage with the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. Guys, give me a shot. They would have
been like, I would have been like, how'd Chad get on there? Well, he's willing to wear the goggles sideways on his head. He was willing to do frosted tips. That's what it was.
Hilarious. 2000, D'Angelo's album Voodoo. That was pretty funky. I don't know if you remember that. It's such a great.
Heck yeah, I remember it.
We'll go 2003. It's Jay-Z, the Black Album. I think he said that was going to be his last album, but he came and did about 10 more. You got Green Day, 2004. American Idiot. Oh, this is a great album. 2006, Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. That was fabulous. Kanye's, it was supposed to be his masterpiece. It's called My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy 2010. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah. Were you a Kanye fan?
I've never been a Kanye fan.
Yeah, that album was good, but I do not like him. 2011, Adele's 21. 2012, Hank, you got me on this, dude. Do you remember when Frank Ocean hit with that album Channel Orange?
I do, remember man.
That? And you were like, Chad, you have got to listen to this. That thing was fabulous. Let's go 2013. That's that Daft Punk came through. We got 2015, Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. You also got me on too. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Yep. 2017, Lord. And we'll jump to 2019 album. The best album of the year was Billie Eilish, who is my daughter Lucy Rose's favorite artist. And it was a pretty good album. So that gives you a quick 30-year synopsis of the best albums by Entertainment Weekly. Anything that you think got left out of there?
Well, I don't think anything got left out, but I will share with our audience. I love how I want to make sure that everybody realizes that I introduced you to much of those bands that were in there. So if I'm your music influence, that's fine. That's fine. But I just wanted to make sure I got it in there. And I don't know. Okay, so our setup is a little bit different today because we're doing this recording a little bit different. And Chad and I usually FaceTime, so we can see each other's reactions and everything. And I don't know if anybody else is in it. So when we did this, I am in my office and I have a lit background and you can see me. Chad looks like he's part of the witness protection program. He made sure that the sun was coming through the window in the back and there's nothing but a silhouette. You look like Dr. Kevorkian over there. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but next time let's get a little bit more professional with your lighting.
I'm the man in the shadows, Hank. I'm the man in the shadows. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I just need some smoke coming out, like cigarette smoke, put this all around me. But anyway, this is a pretty cool setup. Thank you to the Mesh Network for setting us up remotely. So we don't necessarily have to go in the studio as of yet. There will be a time very soon that hopefully we can get in there and Hank, you can see my beautiful face and we can see Moose's ugly mug behind the studio window and do all the stuff like we used to. But until then, we'll keep rocking it remotely. This is a good setup. And, we'll continue to entertain our audience. I did get some complimentary text from 2 episodes ago, Hank, when we actually were describing the different cats at a party, the sports dude, the drunk guy, the business guy. And so many, 2 or 3 people responded that they had been at a party where they saw the exact same folks as we had identified. And they even wanted to add to, there are a couple other personalities that they might run into at a party. I'll review that text and maybe next podcast we could talk about that again. But anyway, 2 thumbs up for that wonderful segment regarding party people. Okay. Anything else we need to bring to the audience today, Hank?
I appreciate that.
Hello?
I think that that special election episode needs to be short and sweet. We want to make sure that we leave them with something. I have gone back and I did hear from somebody that they really loved the getting to know Chad East. So I think next episode I'll bring that back to make sure that we don't lose focus on what Chad maybe likes for Christmas, what Chad is looking for in a good bubble bath, all these things we'll try to figure out.
Wonderful. It's what the world wants to know, Hank. It's what the world wants to know. We'll give it to them. So, guys, please check us out 2 weeks from now when the big fan comes back, and hopefully we'll have a president and we'll have some conversations about, a very peaceful last 2 weeks in our country. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more music. We'll talk about which boy band Chad would rather prefer to be in, Backstreets or NSYNC, and which performer. Is it AJ from Backstreets or is it JC from NSYNC? Isn't it crazy that I know all their names, Hank? Is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing?
No, it's sad is what it is. It's sad.
It truly is sad. It truly is sad. So until then, my friend, I look forward to seeing you soon. Actually, on the tennis courts tonight, Mr. Eimer, I shall see you. And breaking news. It has come to my attention that our world-renowned producer, Mr. Andrew Moose himself, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, Hank, but he is moving to my street.
I can go ahead and tell you what that is. That's a bad thing. Listen, it is not going to be good for either one of you, either 4 of you.
Yeah, true. Good point.
You, him, your livers, your late night. I mean, that's the problem. Is this guy likes music too, right? So Next thing you know, you're gonna have a late night. You know what I see in your future? I see a lot of late walks from house to house.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of late night walks, walking very slowly back home. Yes, I can envision that too. But anyway, as soon as you move in, Andrew, we'll have a big welcome to the neighborhood party. Can't wait. I look forward to it. And I can't wait for 2 weeks to bring another big fan to our wonderful listening audience. Hank, until then, much love and peace.
But wherever you are, I hope the high road leads you home again to a world you want to live in, to a world you want to live in.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.